The Washington Commanders won their first playoff game since 2005 on Sunday, and we have the blueprint on how they can keep their season alive and defeat the top-seeded Detroit Lions.
One game at a time, now we're focusing on Detroit.
How's it going today? My name is Jesse McNamara, and welcome to Point of View. Before we get into it today, I just want to say we always appreciate your feedback. I look forward to reading your comments like the one we've got here. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the end of this episode to see if you can guess today's trivia question down below. To today's topic, do the Commanders have any chance to beat the Lions on their home field? Common sense would tell you no way, but there's always a way in football, and this is how they can get it done. First, they're going to have to play a whole lot better than they did on Sunday night against the Bucs. That probably goes without saying, but I'm saying it anyway. For example, they're probably going to need more than one sack on Jared Goff, and they can't let red zone drives go to waste like they did to open the fourth quarter. Now, a win is a win, especially in the playoffs. This is just the way the Commanders have been winning games lately, but the Lions aren't the Bucs or any of the other recent opponents, and the Commanders are well aware of that, I'm sure. It's going to take a total team effort, and that starts with Jayden Daniels playing out of his mind like he has been lately. If he can keep that momentum from Sunday, that's a huge leg up. Whenever the team needed him, he showed up with a huge play all the way up to the game-winning drive where he ran for a first down just on pure will. The running game is going to have to be way better against the Lions, though, but Jayden proved he can pick up the offense when need be, and he's going to need to be at his best in Detroit to get a position where they can win at the end. Here's Jayden after the wildcard game talking about how the team has been able to pull through in these close games time and time again.
It's just the brotherhood and that DQ. That DQ set, the brotherhood, the togetherness that we have within the locker room. Obviously, the people that have been around has been in the locker room. We can see how close we are off the field. And we're always hanging around each other. Everybody gets along with each other. So I think those moments, when times get tough, we fall back on those type of moments.
That's spoken like a true leader, and I know that Terry McLaurin and the rest of the receiving corps can step up and give the Lions banged-up defense problems. But I want to see that brotherhood that Jayden mentions reciprocated by the rest of the roster against Detroit because he can only do so much. Against the Bucs, the Commanders' running backs totaled just 44 yards on 19 carries, and that's just not going to cut it. The Lions had the 5th best rush defense in the league in terms of yards given up during the regular season, so Brian Robinson and company are going to need to show up this time around. Because in the 5 games the Commanders lost this season, the offense scored over 8 points less per game. So if the rushing attack can prove effective, I think that opens up a whole offense and Jayden can do his thing. And while that's all very important, I think the deciding factor in this game will be what the Commanders' defense is able to do. Dealing with all the weapons Detroit has is no easy task. And while Goff had a near MVP caliber season, it's going to come down to Washington's ability to slow down Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield. And Commanders ranked 30th in the league this season in rushing yards allowed, while the Lions were 6th in rushing yards gained. Gibbs and Montgomery were a problem for even the best rushing defenses, so Washington is going to have to show something they haven't all season. On Monday, Lions head coach Dan Campbell talked about the importance of the run game to their offense. Here's what he had to say.
I just believe that's where everything starts. I know it starts for us that way, and I think it creates an attitude. I think it creates a style. I think it creates a scheme of everything. Kind of works off of that, I guess, is what you should say there. At least for us, that's where it begins. And then it just takes a lot of pressure off of other players. I think it takes pressure off your quarterback. If you can run it, now you play action pass off of the same or similar type of schemes, you open up windows. It helps your receivers separate. Now, they still got to beat the corner, but everything underneath is open, right? So it makes sense. It's hard to pass in this league, especially if everybody in the arena knows that you're passing. Every defense knows that you're passing. They just pin their ears back. It's tough. It's tough.
Of course, a Dan Campbell-led offense is going to start in the trenches, and that's why it's absolutely imperative the Commanders find a way to shut it down and put the pressure on Goff and the rest of the passing game. And even then, the way Washington has been playing, it's going to come down to a last-second score anyway. They've won their last 4 games in the final 10 seconds of regulation or overtime, and they have 6 such games this season, the most by any team since 2000. So even though it's not ideal, I think the Commanders would be happy to find themselves in that situation again. And that brings me to my last point, which is that they can't start slow. The Lions have had problems coming out of the gate on fire, and if Washington can start with an early lead, I think that gives them a great chance to stay in it all the way to the end. So would I bet on the Commanders to beat the Lions straight up? Hell no. But we've seen crazier things over the years, and those guys have something special brewing. All I know for sure is I'll have my popcorn ready to hopefully see another Jayden Daniels masterclass. And while I know a lot of people are surprised the Commanders are even in this position, we knew they had this in them for months. For more on that, check out this past episode of Point of View. And the moment you've been waiting for, here's the answer to today's trivia question. We appreciate you tuning in. We will see you in the next one.